Good evening, good evening. Good evening, guys. Good one for you tonight. Oh, yeah, Luke, you're here. Do you want to start off, Pete, with seeing the cogs as the topical topic?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, the Cogs Quest sale has gone live this morning, and we haven't sold out yet. So if you want to get your packs, you can still get your packs. I believe we've posted the staking rewards as well for December. It's on Twitter and Facebook for now. And there is just like any new release, there will be a triple multiplier for the new Cogs Quest tubes. So if you want to tube it up before December, then you can enjoy the triple multiplier. We do that for every new set that comes out. Yeah, other than that, what are your comments on the new cogs? Anyone bought? I like the artwork. Artwork's really nice. I saw lots of familiar wallets that purchased. A lot of OGs as well. Looks great. URs are damn hard to come by. Yeah, I've been tracking the URs drop rate, and it's a lot lower than usual. To start off with, right now, it's lower than usual, but we're using the similar minting odds as Grimspiel too. So yeah, if it doesn't come out now, it just it will come out later and even out the odds. But yeah, you're right, Hanford. I didn't get many as well. I want more Cogs Quest, but yeah, I think everyone wants more.
About a 9 doesn't seem too bad, Hanford.
Yeah, the URs are not guaranteed, so that's the chance of getting it. The foils are guaranteed this time round, so each pack will guarantee one foil. There will be once all the packs open 20,000 foils. But yeah, it's just still a few packs that have been open. I think maybe around 500 packs that have been open so far. So it will come out.
Okay, so thank you very much. And Luke, on the side of product, I know you'd be itching, ready to wet the bed. Do you want to kick us off on the product side?
It's a weird introduction, but sure. Yeah, so we've got a massive amount of stuff in this next build. We're working the actual the water scenes themselves are massive, and I'll show you in a sec what we've done, but we have to sort of temper a bit of this. It may not be as complete as you're seeing right now in the next build because we're working on performance. So we've added a lot of stuff, and that's obviously created some performance issues. So we're working through that. But on the Quest 3 eats it for breakfast, but the Quest 2's struggling a little bit. So we're just sort of figuring out exactly what we can get in, what we can't. But yeah, I'm very keen to show everyone that. The other thing I wanted to demonstrate as well is people have a couple of questions about support, and one especially about how support will work and how we'll scale up going forward once we get more customers on board. So I'll give a little bit of a demo on the support portal as well and how that's supposed to work, and how you can go and sign in, look up tickets, look at the progress of tickets, all that sort of stuff too. So, but I'll start with the Vault. I'm just getting set up now. I'll cast my screen. Just give me 1 sec while I get that working. Yeah, there's a lot to get through here. All the quarters have been updated. There's a new apartment lobby. There's a whole bunch of stuff, but we'll get through it bit by bit.
Voltox, while you're doing that, Luke, Voltox wrote how much hand-holding has been required for getting the DeFi bears, now called Second City Studios, into the vault, and are you close to having this almost free from hand-holding? I'll let you guys answer the first part. The second part, I can say, Voltox, no, we're not like super close to not hand-holding people for sure. This is going to be something that's ongoing, of course, but I think that the rate at which we're moving now is much faster, and now we're talking to a lot more partners that we'll announce in time that will also bring new things in and help expedite processes. But ultimately, that's the goal, and the goal is as quick as possible. And as we've said before, we want to get a really, really stable build that we don't have to touch, and then we can really work on the onboarding part and making sure that it's a smooth and great experience for people coming on and onboarding, both from the user side and the creator side. So that's the real focus for sure. But it's not being made any harder by the fact that there's some really cool AI tools coming out as well, which is making everyone's life a lot easier.
You can see my screen. Can everyone see me? Can see my screen, sorry.
Hang on, trying to do it.
Yep, I see it.
Yep.
Okay,
Mine's
so
loading. Yep, got it.
I had a tester here a second ago standing up on this landing, and he was going to be my demo for muting other people, but he's disappeared. Oh, here he is. Here's another one. So see there's a little microphone there now. I can click on that and see I've muted that person. If someone's talking shit and you don't want to hear it, which is quite common in obviously these types of experiences, you can just mute
Stop
them.
bullying me.
That's it. He's done. I can't hear that guy anymore.
I come in.
And he'll be muted until I unmute him. So that's persistent. So I think that's a pretty cool feature.
And the name also rotates around him now, as you rotate around him, so you always see the name.
Thank you to my inadvertent demonstration there. This is you'll see these around the vault a little bit coming in the near future, but these are treasure chests, and these will have all sorts of little goodies in them. So we'll have competitions and awards and things in these things. So at the moment we're giving out AI credits, but this will evolve into all sorts of things. So we'll have competitions and whatnot to find these chests. They'll be hidden all over the vault. And this will be a good way to encourage people to come in and participate. I haven't even left the actual spawn point yet. There's so much to see here. It's crazy. So this whole quarter, every quarter is completely redone. You see there's some terrain here. Blake is wearing a suit. That's obviously a big plus. He hasn't got
Jesus,
holes in
mate.
his shirt anymore.
You had to get dressed up for the edition of the village.
Hobo Luke, aka Hobo Lake, is also gone. You see these visual effects on the water. The water's obviously much improved. We're only on the first quarter and the first, few steps. We've tried to make the DJ event a bit more obvious with the disco ball up here. I've had to reinstall this version, so I'm going to have to download. Sorry, guys, I tried to do this earlier, but ran out of time. So you'll see when I come into this DJ event that we've got there's a new scene in there. We've got a bar, we've got lounges, we've got skybox. So the idea here is that if someone comes in to do a DJ set, they can really customize this space. We want people to be able to put their own spin on it. So we can obviously, this will be basically the same as a district in the fact that you can update textures, you can update the skybox, you can change surroundings to suit the event. We've got this bar here, which is very similar to the one in the arcade. Got the skybox, which is just really opens this space up. And upstairs we've got a very similar thing where we've got lounges and bars. The bar there, the bar on the other side. We've got some lounges here. I know I'm moving fast, but there's a lot to get through here.
While you're doing that, Luke, I think it's just, I know I keep hitting on this point, but you'll remember back, for those of you who are around, saying, when people were saying it's going to be too small, it's going to be too small. There's only 4 quarters. Everyone else has got like these endless amounts of land plots and stuff. You can see that this is, with those nested experiences, this is going to be massive already.
We've got Barman Greg. He's an interesting character. Hi, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How about you?
Not sure if you can hear that, but he's an interesting character. He's a good one to go and interact with.
He's modelled on Greg from X.
We've got a completely new lobby scene. This looks fairly similar to how it was, but it's been basically rebuilt from scratch. And the skybox. Obviously, we had the skybox in the previous version, but it wraps around the entire scene now. And the lifts have been improved. We've got the little orb that's floating around is actually animated now. You need to really see this in VR. It's amazing. But when you set a skybox, it's not only these windows here, but it actually wraps around to here as well. You get the full 180 view. See more and more of these AI NPCs around as well. And we're animating them as well, so they'll be moving around and interacting with you more and more. I don't think I need to go into an apartment. We've made some minor tweaks to apartments. You'll see when you lay texture out, it's more consistent. So that's a change that we've made as well. But I think if we stick to the impactful stuff, let's go to Akamoto. I think the Akamoto is probably the biggest jarring change that we've made.
Even as us on the project, like this is getting pretty good pretty quick. It's pretty mind blowing to consider how far it's come, and you've all been made aware many times that there's certain limitations with the tech, but we're waiting for that to catch up. But this is just going to be, you can think, if the first versions of everything you look back and laugh on later on in life, then where we are in 2 or 3 years from now is going to be just scary.
I think what's mind blowing is the fact that I just downloaded 800 meg in like 4 seconds. But yeah.
What an Australian high-speed internet show-off.
Man, my crazy internet never ceases to amaze me. Up until this point, you would say Arcimoto looks pretty much the same, right? But check this out. It's not. That is not the same. We've done a lot of work on adding textures to these ramps. Obviously, the balustrades are all neon now. We've got a whole, the bottom section is all combination of water. Actually, I'll just go down there and show you. Stop talking.
People actually originally said, if you remember, Luke, when we had the plans for this, people used to say it's got a bit of a Tron vibe almost, and that never sort of showed through on the in the original iterations, and now it's starting to really come to life. And instead of it being sort of like a dark maze, it's now like you just want to run around and explore it. Now it looks really great.
I didn't.
Well, we
To
should
be
get some
perfectly
artists
honest-
in there with their glowing RGB, because that'll look good.
To be perfectly honest,
Oh,
I
yeah.
was sticking to Q5 mostly, and it didn't really go to the other quarters. And now that they're updated, I'm finding that I'm going to them a lot. And I don't think this is going to wear off, this novelty, because they're really getting cool. And I think when we start to disperse these experiences more and more, and we've got variety in these quarters, and there's more and more reason to go to them. Yeah, it's just there's actually a reason. There's a reason to come in, but also they're actually cool. Like it's not. There's nothing boring about these. I'll show you Calanova quickly as well. There's some anti-Calanova sentiment at the moment, but it's unfounded.
Starting to look really, really good now.
So yeah, like there's. You probably saw some flyovers a while ago of Calanova where they had all this vegetation and everything, and thought, hang on, that doesn't look like Calanova. But they were just early views of this particular scene. So this is actually being loaded now. Like I said, there might be some slight variations on this. We've had to tone things back slightly because this is pretty heavy. On the Quest 3, this runs like a dream, but Quest 2 is having some performance issues. So just at the moment, just trying to figure out what we can and can't load. There's just so many minor things. I walk around here every day, and every day I find something new. Like I walked into this dome the other day and realized that there's steps in here now. So look down there. There's actually the steps like an actual old auditorium. It's subtle, but these things make such a difference.
That's like an amphitheater, mate.
Yeah, it's so cool. Actually,
Good old amphitheater.
I was going to show you something else. There's just so much to say. I'm probably missing stuff. There's so much to say, but it's something you'll probably notice is there's an entrance on this dome down here. When I saw this, I got so excited. There's not much in here yet. It's going to take a bit of time to figure this out, but you can actually enter the dome now. I can see this being. I don't know if anyone's seen that Las Vegas Sphere with the massive wraparound screen, but I just imagine if we can get a huge web view in here and we can stream videos with sort of wraparound, like a wraparound 3D sort of screen, and have a better viewing area, this could be really, really awesome. actually.
Secret.
There
Everyone just
is one more thing I need to
to.
demonstrate as well. There's probably a lot of things I'm missing here, but I'm trying to give you the highlights. There's so much stuff. But on these rooftops now, each rooftop is unique, but you'll see they've got these lounge areas. We've got bars. We'll add audio to these areas, so you'll be able to have parties up here. This is me. This is, a good weekend vibe. Have a DJ set up, have some music playing. I can see these areas being really popular. Lastly, we've got a new menu item, so we've got the actual portal, so you can go and configure your apartment or whatever in here, and then obviously see it live. You could add NFTs and things, and then go and see them in real time in the vault. We've got an events list, and just a browser. So this could be a bit dangerous, but we've added a browser as well, so you can obviously go in and search things and play
I use it
music,
to play
play videos,
while I'm
whatever
running
else.
around. I just open up.
If you start music here and close it, that music will be persistent. It'll follow you around until you go into another scene. So that's pretty cool as well. You'll also notice that unless you just close this menu, if you actually hit the exit button now, it'll ask you to go back to it'll actually go back to the login screen. So if I confirm that, it'll take me back to the avatar selection screen, so I can actually go back and choose my avatar again, which is something people have been asking for a while. I didn't even cover everything. I had to sort of, like I said, give you the highlights. But yeah, there's so much stuff in there. All I've got,
And yeah, go.
you can still see my screen there, right? I was gonna, while I'm sharing my screen and while I'm talking, I thought I'd just quickly run through the support side of things as well, just to show people how the portal works. You can still see my screen?
Yep, we still see it.
Okay, so I'm going to sign out of this. So people have been asking about support, how it works, and there was one particular question about how we're going to scale up support. So we've put a massive amount of effort and not to mention money into making sure that our support systems are robust, and when we do scale up and when we do increase our customer base, that we will have a very robust support system. I'm not sure how much use this is getting. I don't know how many people are actually going in and looking at this, but this is really powerful. There's a lot of stuff in there. We need to obviously get a lot more documentation and information in there, but you can see that the bones are there, and we can quickly scale this up. So if I hit sign in as a customer, I've got an RFOX ID login screen. So I can use my normal RFOX ID login as I normally would to log into the support system, and it knows who I am based on my previous logins. Once I've done that, I can not only browse for these articles and look through the actual knowledge base, but I can actually go and look at my actual history of support tickets. So I can go my activities. This is a ticket I've created before. Why is the Vault so cool? It's a good question. Once I've actually created that ticket, I can go back and look at the status of it. So I can see that it's open. I've actually created a follow-up ticket here. No matter how you do this, whether you actually go in and hit the help button in the corner here, this help button you'll see on all of our actual websites. So you can either create a ticket from there, you can hit our chat bots. and you can actually do a follow-up on there as well. But no matter how I've actually created that ticket, you'll be able to see the history in here. So I can see that I've created a ticket, I followed it up, and then I've got a response from the team. So rather than actually going back and responding to the email and saying, how do I know that you've got my request? Where is it up to? Blah, blah, blah. You can actually go in here and actually look at the status of it. I can update that. I can put a new update in there and ask another question or a follow-up. I can see the status of it. If it's been updated recently, I can see who's working on it. And then, that sort of saves you coming back and asking us a question of where that's up to. The other thing is, like I said, we've got a pretty good knowledge base in here now as well. So you can go and search for an answer to a question, but the easiest way of actually getting a question answered is to actually just hit the help button. And this is a combination of chat and an actual bot. So if you ask a question like, what's the question?
How do I stake my tubes?
Thank you, mate. Depends how you spell tubes, but let's say I spell it the old school way. Let's say that one of these actual articles answers my question. That's great. I can say yes, that answered my question, or no, it didn't answer my question. It's not actually related to my question. Get in touch. If there's someone online, they'll be able to answer your question straight away. If not, I can say leave a message. And then by actually typing in my message in this box, that'll give me, it's actually the body of the ticket itself. When I hit send message, that will create a ticket. It'll send it to a support agent. It'll be an offline thing, but again, you'll be able to track it in this portal. And you'll obviously get an email as an update to that as well. But if you don't want to do any of this stuff, if you're just old school and you just want to send an email, you can send the email through to support@rfox.com and you'll get a response. But we've also injected the bot into that as well. So you'll get suggested articles and suggested documentation that can help you with your problem. And you can actually close your own ticket if that solves your problem. We're working on building that out and making sure that there's a lot more content in there. And the next step to this as well is we're adding actual full-on AI to this support system. So we'll have an actual AI agent responding not only based on the actual articles themselves, but they'll be intelligently collecting that information, collating that, and then responding in a more human way. So we think that'll be a really good way to get that first level support taken care of. And obviously that's very in keeping with our the fact that we're embracing AI technology so much. So we're hoping that will be a really good foray into you're getting responses for support from an AI bot. Hopefully they'll be able to collect that information and give you a really intelligent answers. And then we can obviously build on that, and we'll have support agents on the additional levels. You can always bump it up if you don't think you're getting a good response. You can always give that feedback and get a real person, as it were, to respond to you. This is how we'll scale. I don't think, to be quite honest, we don't have a good support structure at the moment. We don't have a dedicated support team. But as we build up our customer base and as we grow, we'll obviously add people in and grow this out. But you can obviously see that we've spent a lot of time and put a lot of thought and energy into this.
Thanks, mate.
Unless anyone's got any questions.
I think there's quite a few here. Is it possible to have collaborative work with KOGs and, say, Axie Infinity or Shiba Inu with regards to pets in the RFOX Vault? Think that Shiba has NFTs, so it's possible to bring them to KOGs or an NFT so that communities could see their favorite trends come to life in different ways. So we've got Mint Lab, of course, which would allow for the introduction into our ecosystem. The thing is that some collections have different licensing agreements and copyright or trademarks, etc. So depends on the system and whether the person owns them. But we were talking about this in depth internally today. There's still a way to go before you can easily transition, and it's happening fast. It's getting there, but rapidly transition pictures into fully rigged, metaverse ready, avatars that are moving around and inhabiting the space. But the one that we get asked the most is, can we take avatars that already exist across? And again, the same rules apply. It depends on whether or not it's compatible, which is quite a few things to look at. But secondly, whether or not there's the legal component as well. Does anyone want to add something to that? Nope. So is this on Quest 2 or 3? Luke, you were doing that on mobile, were you? Or how are you doing the demo?
That was Quest 3.
Quest
I just don't want to be a peasant and use a Quest 2 anymore, but the Quest 2 seems like garbage now, to be honest. The Quest 3 is light years ahead. It does run okay on the Quest 2, but like I said, we still need to do some improvements on it. We are going to release this build as soon as we possibly can. You just may have a couple of very minor differences, but the bulk of it is in there. So the Quest 3 runs that thing, runs that so smoothly and eats it for breakfast, but the Quest 2 has trouble with very minor things, like it's the water graphics and the shaders and stuff, things like that. So we just need to tweak it a little bit, but we're going to work on optimization so we can have all of that stuff on the Quest 2 build as well. It's coming. 99% of that stuff will be available on both though.
Thank you, mate. Have you planned to have a symbol over the AI NPCs heads to make people understand their NPCs, like a small red triangle or similar?
We get feedback that people were struggling a bit to understand that. So that's one thing we'll do. What we do earlier is probably information screens in the waiting screens. So basically have tutorials there and explanations for all across the vault for things you can do, how you use certain things. Basically let that information trickle in instead of explaining everything right at the start, because most of the time people just skip tutorials, right? So without in those waiting screens, you don't do anything anyways, you're just waiting. So we'll put a couple of things in there that explain those kinds of interactions. I don't know, Mike, if you want to say anything, but
he's talking more about the NPCs. Like, for example, if you walked up to a Xavier or a Greg or something, how do you know that they're actually not real people?
Well, for one, obviously their response would not be as natural for now, at least. But AI is adapting fast. But we actually working at the moment on. There's a few things that all tie into this. So number one is the tutorial that Joe was hinting at, and in that system, we're going to explain what the differences are. So, for example, there'll be an NPC that'll explain to you, but we'll also we're working on an indicating system of what these different things are, and that ties into the next item, which is the map. So we're actually looking at, well, then that ties into the next one, which is the friend system. We're looking at how people see other people, how you understand what activities are going on in the vault, where it is, where's the party at, that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of different things that are all busy being designed in the background. So they're in design stage at the moment, not implementation stage, which will help with all of that. So you'll be able to tell what's an NPC, and the first version of that will probably be on a map where you'll see your friends might be a green dot, you might be a blue dot, and NPCs might be red dots or yellow dots or whatever that is. Obviously, we're looking at making that colorblind friendly colors for Pete. And that's like one of the first places where we're going to start with that. So when we do start implementing that whole system and all those different things, that's when we will then do a full iteration across everything and make sure that everything speaks the same language. So that won't be in there for now, but as soon as those features start being implemented in the Vault wheels is when we'll start seeing those changes happen.
Thank you, mate. And just around that question, Voltox, there's people that have sort of said, would they become so natural that you couldn't tell and all the rest of it? And again, clicking on it to get it to talk, this as stated, there's certain things that we're working on, but ultimately, I think the way things are going, like Luke said, some of the people that you get in some of the spaces on the other platforms, I think people are going to enjoy hanging out with the AI NPCs more than they will with some of the humans. So it's going to be interesting to see how it blends and the interactions go. And the great part about having an open platform like this is we're going to learn as we go very quickly and get lots of feedback and data and work this out. So it's pretty exciting. With the massive announcement of mainstream massive franchise GTA Grand Theft Auto incorporating NFTs into their latest game, GTA6, what will RFOX be taking note of on how the gaming NFT set up for the mainstream gaming franchise, such as what are you expecting them to do right, wrong, and learn from for their successes and failures? It actually kind of ties into the next question as well, where Hanford's talked about thoughts on the Disney announcement in the waitlist. So for those of you who don't know, Disney announced Disney Pinnacle. But going back to Artesh's question, I can give you my view. My view is that that a lot of these companies aren't going in cold anymore. So Disney copped a lot of crap for their announcement, saying, I don't know, the first articles I read was stuff like Disney Pinnacle is now going to have an attempt to fail at NFTs after the crash in 2021 and stuff. The thing is that companies are now partnering with people that have been around the space and done things before. I think Disney's from memories like Dapper Labs or something like that, but they're partnering up. So there's a lot of brands out there. We speak to them as well that say that they have aging audiences, or they've got they're trying to cycle new people into their audiences. On the crypto side, we continually hear that people have issues with audiences, full stop. So you're seeing a lot more of these partnerships and deals done between traditional companies and Web3 companies, because the timing of a lot of this is important as well, because people understand that one of the that the bear cycle is sort of finishing and we're starting a new cycle. So now's the time to plant those seeds. So I think that you won't see traditional companies make as bigger mistakes as some of the traditional companies that tried to tread into the waters earlier did. Not to say that they won't, but the rigidness of some of those companies and the protection of their brands and stuff has required them to do a lot more research into copyrights and all the rest of it. And I've seen many articles recently where big companies have talked about the issues that Bored Apes had with copyrights or trademarks, and you'll notice that they go around that. They talk more about misleading statements, or they don't touch on the copyright so much because there's still dubious laws around copyright, and that could also end up coming unstuck for everybody as well. So it's still a touchy-feely space for understanding that. And then we haven't even gone through a token cycle for AI, haven't gone through that yet. So you're also going to get the whole, what's the debate once and for all? What are the laws in relation to AI-produced artworks, and is it copyrightable? Is it defensible? There's some pretty clear-cut rules on this at the moment, but will they change? I don't know. So I think it's going to be interesting to see, mate, and I think the world will watch. But Disney, for example, don't even mention the side of their side being called NFTs. GTA has been a lot more liberal with that, so I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see how it plays out. I didn't sign the waitlist, no. But Micah, Joe, Luke, does Pete, anyone else want to give any input into Sesh's question?
Yep, I'd love to, and I don't want to trivialize your answer at all. And this is kind of a different approach to it, but I'm a massive Disney fan. I've been to Disney parks more than 20 times, and you know, it's my go-to destination. I've seen people line up for hours for pins, Disney pins, right? So this is a very different beast. Nobody sells badges and pins anymore. Nobody can do that. It's not a thing. But Disney absolutely fucking smash it. Every time they come out with a pin, or a set of pins, there's people just lined up around the corner for it, and it doesn't make any sense because nobody wants no one's going to put it on their denim jacket. Who's got a denim jacket anymore? It's such a stupid thing, but people absolutely freak out about them. So I think that is one scenario where this will actually work, and the Pinnacle name is awesome. I just think this is going to be a massive success, but it's nothing to do with NFTs. It's just the fact that Disney has a stupid, ridiculous fan base that will do anything to buy their shit, and good on them for that. I think that's a really good move. I think that's going to be successful. As far as people doing throwaway NFT collaborations, I'm not sure. Generally, I don't know if that's actually a thing. It'll be very interesting to see. That's my team.
Okay, as a pinhead, I'm very offended by your statement. I collect pins, but I don't wear them.
Sorry,
I don't
sorry, I
wear them.
forgot
I
you were
just
here.
collect them.
Yeah, and obviously, like Luke said, Disney's got a massive fan base and all the rest of it. I think it's hard to say as well because the media's really portrayed this. And when I'm talking about GTA and Disney and all the rest of it, I'm talking much more about the general terms of NFTs and how these big players will come into the space this time. And what you're seeing is you're already seeing a lot of these announcements dropping over the last week or two. So seeing that we've had this confirmation for a while that the bottom of the market was in, and now you're starting to see a lot of people say, "Oh, we've been working on something for a really long time, and we're coming out with stuff." But it's the way it's also positioned by the mainstream media as well to be something that it may not be. But they're certainly not stupid. They know what they're doing for sure and certain. Joe, Micah, do you got anything that you want to add to that?
Yeah. With those bigger projects, I'm always looking really closely at how they're actually incorporating the NFTs, where they're onboarding the new users, especially that switch from Web 2 to Web 3. That's always very interesting. At what stage of the user journey they actually introduce NFTs and how user-friendly that onboarding is. So yeah, that's something I'm looking out at, especially also now with some bigger gaming companies. Like we're seeing Shrapnel, for example, on Avalanche launching a AAA shooter game, or CTX from Zepeto, a couple of those bigger players that have a lot of funding and that want to onboard to Web3. And yeah, we just got to keep a really close eye on that stuff because we know that there are huge, problems to solve and like user experience issues. Things like Reddit, for example, had basically a lot of NFTs, like they minted millions of NFTs, and they also saw, I think they sunsetted it or basically just completely decreased the focus on this one. So we see examples where it worked and where it didn't work. So definitely want to learn from those winners.
Yeah, and I've had lots of talks with partners and stuff over the last couple of weeks where you just see that people are sort of thinking, okay, so there's a new market cycle coming in. We can do something that requires a constant stream of people coming in for this to be successful, which is obviously, the definition of everything you don't want. But ultimately, I think that the way that people will approach this round will be very different. A lot of the projects that didn't really get to showcase what they had as far as products and services last run will be able to this time. And I think a lot of people are a lot wiser to the fact that there was a lot of hyperbole, and I've gone over it, and I'm sure some of you guys have, but if you go back to like 2015, 16, 17, and have a look at all of the projects that raised huge amounts of funding and were hyped to buggery, and by who they were hyped by and all the rest of it, most of those projects are gone. And the ones that sort of got a bit of rough treatment and stuck around and built something are actually like some of the top projects. And also we've seen already in the last 10 to 15 years, we've seen that, especially the last 10, that the top 10 cryptos don't stay the same for that long. We're sure that Ethereum and Bitcoin will, but there's going to be a real onus on any of these companies to come in and say, if you're going to come in and play in this space, you have to build something of value, and you have to build something that people are going to want to use continually. Otherwise, get out. You'll die a quick death. If you're coming in to just try and you're a prize boxer coming into an amateur boxing fight, if that's what you think you're doing, it's different now. They will lose. And to Joe's point, we've seen some of those big players come in and they've actually explained how long it's taken them to understand the difference in the way to market, the way to onboard users, the clunkiness of the current structures. It's really a different ball game than a lot of people expect, and it's harder than they think. So at least they're starting to partner with people that know how to do it. Unfortunately, a lot of those people are very, very seasoned fleecers. So yeah. Adding to the DM's discuss questions, will there be a day and night cycle so it isn't always night in Archimoto and day in Calanova? In our original designs and plans, we had like a closing and opening dome and all the rest of it. But at this stage, we were told very early on that making some of those changes could be potentially easy depending how you did it, or more difficult. I think at this stage, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but at this stage it's all about finishing the builds and making them stable, and then we can go back and revisit and do a lot of other stuff. But what we want to do is build the great experience and the demand and find that product market fit, and that's what's really important at this stage, and then we can go back and visit that stuff later.
Yeah, my one word answer would be skyboxes.
Yeah.
And mine would be
Skyboxes
HDRI skyboxes.
Nice.
would be what?
HDRI skyboxes.
Oh, HDRI.
So that's
Yeah,
basically
also,
skyboxes that have lighting baked into them.
yeah, it's actually funny. Like in the first concepts for the Vault, and also in the changed one, in the latest one for the whole Genesis, you will see those kind of capsules that can go over the quarters, and that's because we were also thinking about that question for night and day and how we can control it, that it still makes sense. So with those spheres basically going over, you can imagine having something like the Las Vegas sphere, where you can have something projected on the inside and outside. So that's basically the skybox, or something what Michael just said. So I think, yeah, we have a lot of options there, and we can just utilize a lot of things that we already have in the Vault for that as well.
Yeah, I think the options that have become available. So that's the other thing as well. Like I was asked that question during the week, is that how confident are you when you sit down to do roadmaps now compared to where you were a year ago? And it's actually a much more difficult a question to answer than you'd think, because before it was a matter of, do we think we have enough of a structure in place and good enough planning to be able to hit those deadlines and to execute without unknown hurdles sort of jumping up and surprising you. But the thing is now that the technology is moving so quickly that it's much more of a situation of we're going to have a different landscape to play in 6 months or a year, and we keep getting told, and I think several of us have heard it today as well, that none of us are really going to understand the landscape of where AI is going and what's coming up in the next 6 months or so as well. So a lot of stuff's going to change. A lot of stuff's going to change. So it's going to be sort of, I think the most important thing for us is to make sure that we've got that platform that allows us to be able to click in what comes in, and we're not stuck and saying, oh crap, you know, we're a 2D game platform and we can't actually take advantage of some of this stuff in its full glory. Not to say that you can't do things with AI and 2D platforms, but what I'm saying is you saw Luke's walkthrough on the Quest 3 and said, you guys have got to see this in VR. It's a completely different experience. And I think that as this technology gets better and better and what you can do becomes more expansive, then it just plays into the narrative and the pathway, which is why we think we've picked the right horse, is because it's going to be better and better experiences if you're in an immersive environment. You can taste them in VR. We've also got a list of questions as well, right, Lala?
Yes, we do. I can read it out for you if you like.
Yeah, sure. That'd be great, because I just realised we've got a few questions here and we've still got the ones from the list.
Yep, sure. I'll just read it out real quick. So the first question that we got was from Jay Charles. Is there a plan to integrate the 1.8 million followers of the RFOX Media Myanmar Facebook page to the Vault?
So there's actually a lot more followers than that across the different pages there, but ultimately that's an audience that we can tap into, of course, and the goal for anything that we've got access to is to try and bring people across, for sure and certain. But it's a matter of getting the timing right, making sure the onboarding process is correct. And as you know, we're still sort of rolling out those basic functions and features, but we're also trying to balance that with bringing in enough new users for us to be able to test things. But again, we just have to finish the stability of that build, finish the creator tools, and then we can sort of turn the jets on and try and migrate people across from platforms that we have access to. The next one, the Vault is becoming very impressive. Can't wait for it to take off like a rocket. Glad I didn't get a Quest 2 yet. Definitely going to have to get a Quest 3. Yeah, I think a lot of people on the team still don't have a Quest 3 as well. So, Luke's not going to be able to rub it in people's faces for much longer, are you, mate? Because we're going to, I think we'll all be on board. Yeah, we can't go through the day being called peasant all day. It's just not fitting. Aside from pets, are there going to be other things in the Vault that are gatekeeping by RFOX Games, like Cogs Quest, other games that RFOX develops in the future, or third-party games that utilize RFOX NFTs, Cogs, Citizens, Apartments, etc.? Who wants to tackle that one? Red Pill or Luke? Yep.
I'll just quickly say that we've said this several times, but we're not in the business going forward of building. So obviously there's 2 more quarters to come. There's obviously stuff to do on the Vault itself, but that's platform stuff. We want people to come in and use our tools and already have in our ecosystem. So we'd be very keen, and we would encourage any project to come in and use Cogs and incorporate Cogs and any other part of our ecosystem into their games or experiences. But the stuff that will be coming from us will be driven through those projects, not directly through us.
There is definitely, from the Cogs perspective as well, there's definitely lots and lots of room for growth there, and lots of opportunities that have opened up as well. And that's going to be a major focus area going forward as well.
Can I clarify a little bit, Benny?
Sure.
What I'm referring to is are you guys prepared to incentivize people to do that? Like gatekeeping either some aspect, ability, attribute, or something in the Vault can create incentive for other developers to come in knowing that, hey, if I put in the time, effort, and energy, I'm getting a little bit more than what I might return out of the game by RFOX assisting me with incentivization, basically, because
Mhm.
one of the things that I'm seeing is in order for people to check out like new projects, new things, because I'm in like 4 or 5 and I've tried sharing the vault and I haven't seen hardly anybody come across, sharing with people videos and stuff like that. And it's like, it seems like when people get tribal about a project that they're in or a couple, that there's no incentivization to go out. So, if a game company doesn't feel incentivized other than just building a game, which seems to be standalone and nobody wants to be interoperable, and the whole idea of all of this working together just doesn't seem to be coming together. So I was just wondering, because more incentivization along those types of lines might encourage more people to try and do cross interoperability. Like they can say to their people, hey, we're going to partner with the vault, and if you come over and do these quests or do this thing or whatever, or just have this thing, then you're going to get access to this that other people don't. That's an incentivization that encourages people to actually get their feelers out on new stuff.
Absolutely. And I knew exactly what you meant by your question, and that's why I sort of gave a weird, ambiguous answer at the end, because that's exactly what we're looking into now, and opportunities are opening up for that to happen. And we understand that that's the case, and we're seeing examples of companies buying platforms to try and reach a wider audience. And let's be honest, you talked about the tribalism and stuff. There's also a lot of people that have large audiences on paper that might not be anywhere near as active as they were, because they might have invested in an ecosystem or something that's down, obviously, in a bear market, and they might not have stuck around. They might not be like you guys that rock up each week or going into these products. And you've seen on social media, there's people that say, what's going on with this? And then you say, have you been in the vault? And they go, no, I don't go into these things. I'm just saying, do this or do that. So incentivizing, having incentives, and I'm using incentives in the right context as well. And I mean, reward for effort as far as opportunities are concerned is extremely important. And it's something that we're spending a lot of time on to try and make sure that we get right. We understand the importance of getting it right for this cycle as well. So, yes, we're acutely aware of those issues, and the more partners that we're talking to, the more we're realizing that it's an issue that everybody faces, and that everybody's trying to work on. So it'll be a little bit of a fight, a wrestle, and a race, but I think we've got adequate time, and we're ahead of a lot of people as well. So and behind others. So it's a matter of trying to position ourselves the right way, make sure that our unique proposition or offering is at the forefront, and then trying to really sweeten the deal for people to come across and spend the time doing what we need them to do and what we want them to do. So yes, that's about all I can say at this stage, but it is something that we're definitely acutely aware of and working on. And I'm not sugarcoating anything as far as problems are concerned in the space in general, because I'm also having lots of conversations with people who are seemingly thinking that enough new people coming into the space is sufficient reason to repeat the same things that happened in the last cycle, because it's lazy and people won't know or understand. There's a lot of astute people around. There's a lot of people that have been through cycles, and you have to actually give value. You have to actually give something of quality to people. You can't just type a white paper anymore. It just doesn't work. It's not going to work. I hope that sort of gives you an inkling of where we're going. Could be summarized in or defined into one sentence of Vault being a mobile and VR social e-commerce and games platform. If not, how would you define Vault in one sentence? I'll open that up. Anyone can answer that. Anyone on the team or any of you guys, if you want to have a stab at that. Because we know, we live, sleep, eat, and breathe it, but it would be awesome to hear what other people think. And if it can't be articulated in a sentence or so, that tells us what work we need to do.
I'd say something along the lines of the foundation of a real world Ready Player One.
Yeah, there's no real wrong answer. I think to answer your question as well, if you've watched some of the interviews and stuff we've done, we've talked heavily around Creator Platform and the tools for open world creation. And I think that as creators come in and create more and more stuff, we believe that with this technology, the way it's moving as well, is that you're turning people that are currently not creators into creators. People like me that can walk in and say, "I got an idea, let's try that," and presto, it's there. So it'll continually be the platform for creators and those experiences, like you said. But it's also going to morph into people being able to use those creations and port those creations to or pieces of those to other places. And it's important that people can, sell and trade an avatar on OpenSea as well, and that it's not just ring fenced and closed in. There's got to be wide appeal, and it's got to expand and reach out. So it'll morph over time as we go from heavily creator focused and concentrated to tons of users coming in and having awesome experiences. So it's going to be a nice evolution for us for sure. Let's see what else we've got. Sorry to keep you guys. That was a big demo, Luke. I reckon we're going to get to the point pretty soon where the demo is going to take up the whole thing, which would be awesome.
Natash's goal, which is when updated RFOX roadmap. It's so close that we're actually talking about it today. Like we're finishing it off at the moment, and yeah, but like I said, it was a topic today. So the two things I think we'll probably summarize the roadmap anyway. If you want a brief of it, would be AI and creator tools. They're the two main things that we're going to be focused on. It's going to be pretty high level, and it's going to be what we put up this week will be around. The time frame will be the rest of this year and the first quarter of next year. But like I said, it's going to be very heavily focused on AI and creator tools. Is a spoiler alert.
Yeah, and I think that we can feel that transition coming. And like Luke said, we're just to reiterate, we're really itching to get to the point where we've got the stable platform. We can leave that alone, so to speak, and we've got those tools at the ready. I think more and more now, because you don't forget, we've gone in the last 18 months from even the staff sort of saying, I'm kind of understanding what we're doing, need to really see it more, to inundated with ideas, and now people itching to get behind the driver's seat and saying, I want to try something, I want to build something, I want to deploy something. So that's a pretty exciting iteration to be going through, and it's happening at fast speed as well. So I think all of us on the team will have had some sort of creation or input or display of something that we've created in some fashion as well, just to try things out. And that's the way you want it. You want it to be that everyone wants to get in and have a go. Lala, anything that you want to add that people need to be mindful of or aware of that's coming up?
Yes, I do. So I will be posting up a little bit more details of the next DJ event. It will be this Friday. I know it's a little bit late for an update, but we're still going with it because it's going to be an epic one as usual. The time will be the same as last week, but I will make sure that it's all up and ready and tag everybody here. I also have an announcement on who won the Halloween contest. We have the votes. It's been a week. And it is none other than Adelaire. Sorry, I'm terrible today. Adelaire. So we will be contacting Adelaire after this as the winner for our Halloween contest.
You gave the answer in Scottish, which was great. I like that. You're Irish, but it was actually
Don't
Scottish.
bully me. It's been a long day.
That video though was like absolutely insane. Like really was amazing. Well done, Adelaire.
It sure was.
Incredible. Incredible.
Yeah.
And the thing is that those videos, we want them to become quicker for you to do, as time goes on, but also just more people being able to do that to that type of level as well. But that was like that's awesome, mate. And to think that that's been created by by going in and using the tools is just phenomenal. So awesome work, guys. And yeah, make sure that you come along to the DJ event on Friday. Check that out. Lots of different types of events coming up as well. And we're always working on trying to integrate new stuff as well. So very, very exciting period in the lead up to Christmas. So thank you very, very much for joining us tonight. Thank you to the team. Thanks for that amazing walkthrough as well, Luke. And really look forward to finishing the year strong and seeing more of you in there.
I was just thinking about this competition entries, and man, there's some people in this community do make me worried about their mental health because, man, there was some creepy stuff in there.
Oh,
We
the
all know
clowns just
Adelaide
killing.
absolutely insane, but
Good creepy.
cheers, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.